haven't checked yet.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Well, as we always do, we open this thing up with a monologue. And I'm going to tell you this. The 35-28 score doesn't truly reflect how well the Wolfpack dominated this game. Like, very seriously, it gives off the impression that this was a close game when in reality, if we actually do the real-time amount of time that this game was a one possession or less game, that was for a few minutes to start the game and a few minutes to end the game. And that's it. That's very seriously it. So I don't want anybody to look at this game and say, oh man, this team, they're struggling. They're barely getting by. They're barely doing what they're supposed to do, because that's not the case. This was a game in which NC State from wire to wire led this game. There was never a point in this game where the Wolfpack trailed. And again, I understand we can talk about the conservative play calling down the stretch. We can talk about the discipline. What we saw out of this team, especially in that second and third quarter in particular, where we scored all 35 of our points, was phenomenal. Was absolutely phenomenal. So all in all, I will say that this was a game. Again, I hate the mantra of, the game was much more one-sided than the score says, or it was closer than what the score says. But this truly was. If you watch that game, you know NC State dominated this thing from wire to wire and survived the late surge more so than it was this back and forth affair, and we just barely did something to pull away down the stretch rather.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into some of the, I guess, playing with your food, if you will, near the end of that game in just a bit. But all in all, a win's a win, especially on the road, especially against the Virginia Tech team that has played very well at home. Mm-hmm. I was super impressed with how NC State came out and looked tonight. Again, minus the fourth quarter. That kind of is a separate discussion, but I was super impressed with how NC State looked tonight. The offense, lo and behold, might be the story tonight. Not so much the defense like we've seen the past couple weeks here. The offense was spectacular. Brennan Armstrong was spectacular. KC, as he has been all season, was spectacular. The offense was a very pleasant surprise tonight. I believe Armstrong had 4 total touchdowns. Where has that been all season long? Well, I guess there's probably answers for that at this point in the season, but just so good to see the offense. Look, you got a little bit of like the ceiling of what we could have been this entire time if everything was fully progressed. But amazing to see KC continue to be effective. You got some other guys. We had a Porter Rooks sighting. We had a Trent Penix touchdown. We had some Dakari Collins in there. Everyone was involved, and it was outstanding.
Absolutely. And when you look at the beginning of the season, I don't want anybody saying this is a year that I look back at and I say everything happened just the way it was supposed to happen.
Yes.
There are so many moments in life where we can make it analogous to this season where something doesn't make sense. Something happens and makes us hurt. Something happens that we look back at and we're like, oh my God, that's an embarrassing moment. But everything happens as it should. For example, Brennan Armstrong, I'm going to read you his QBRs from his first 5 starts, okay? And mind you, the teams that we're talking to, I'm going to read the team off that the QBR is against. UConn, 73.1. Notre Dame, 33.2. VMI, 82.8. UVA, 57.7. Louisville, 18.2. Okay? That's what he did in his first 5 games as a starter. And then he sits down for a few games. He is not the guy for 3 games. And then what happens? Wake Forest, 98.1 QBR. Virginia Tech, 90.9 QBR. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it happened exactly as it was supposed to, because that time not only helped out Brennan Armstrong, but it also helped Robert Anae. It also helped him to see, okay, this is what we're good at, this is what we're not good at. And let's make no bones about it. These last 3 opponents that we're going to face, all bad at stopping the run. All bad at stopping the run. So we should be able to do something that we're establishing an offensive identity of, you know what? We're going to run the ball and we're going to do it well. And you're going to have to figure that out. And so that's something I'm loving to see. And yes, that is partially because of Anae, but I think it's more so in our offensive line is taking pride in them being the identity of this thing.
What's sneaky funny about the QBR is that KC Concepcion had a higher QBR than Brennan in this game. Of course,
He had
one pass
100
for a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah.
But I want to highlight that play because we've spent a lot of time these last couple of weeks talking about Robert Anae in the kitchen. Maybe his best dish was served tonight up in Blacksburg. The halfback pass in that situation was a masterpiece because you had so many you had such a concerted effort up to that point to continually get the ball into Casey's hands. A perfect sell in that situation to sneak Trent Penix out of the backfield and into a wide open end zone. Oh my gosh. What an absolutely outstanding play call. And of course, the execution from Casey to get it to Trent, all in all. But I mean, that was probably my favorite play from the game. That's probably the biggest one that stands out. I also love the pass earlier to KC from Armstrong there before halftime. You tweeted it, Kenton. Kenton was on the Twitter duties as I could not load anything from the upper deck in Lane Stadium. But to see an offense basically progress through a 2-minute drill, so to speak, and score right before half, in which you're getting the ball in the second half. We've tweeted about that so many times this year. If we could just get another score here before half, that's a huge momentum shift. And it finally happened tonight. Yeah. And you saw how much of a difference that can make, especially in a game on the road like this one. So good to see the offense hit their stride here at the end of the season with Armstrong and Anae back in the mix.
Absolutely. And it's a reason for those of you who are not comic book nerds like myself, there was a reason that I tweeted the meme of Bizarro asking, "Who am me?" That was the moment in which he first became cognizant that he wasn't Superman in the show. But very seriously, it felt like one of those moments where it's like, wait, the before half has killed us all year long. And really, I'll say longer than all year. The before half thing has plagued Dave Doran for quite some time.
It's been an ongoing problem
for quite some time. And so to get a touchdown going into half, when you get the ball coming out of half, in this one, man, I'll tell you what. It's hard to do anything but applaud Anae, applaud Doran, applaud whoever was deciding, hey, we need to get aggressive and we need to push for points here. And I hope that this serves as a lesson going forward that we can do this. Defenses are at their most vulnerable. People always talk about, it just seems like defenses are running prevent and giving up everything at the end of games. Not really. What's more so happening is when teams go hurry up, as a defense, you need time to get a call in and communicate the call. Okay? And I know what most people would think, well, offenses calls are more complex than defenses calls. And if you get them in at the same time, yes, they are. However, offensively, you need to know one part of that call. If you're an offensive lineman, you need to know one part of that call. If you're a running back, you need to know one part of that call. If you're all the different parts need to know one part of the call. If you are part of the back half, or even depending on the blitz, if you're a part of the guys who are dropping, you need to know the entire call. So when you are going hurry up at the end of a half, you've got a defense on the ropes just de facto by how plays are designed. So to see us lean into that, it was absolutely amazing. And again, I just, I heard a quote from Robert Anae that he said, at my age, I don't work for anyone. I work with people. And working with Dave Doran has been great. Dave Doran, get the hell out of his way and let him work with you, okay? Let him work with this offense and let us do good things here.
Yeah, and this is a great point here from Logan. You certainly can't also forget about the impact of BA in the run game. And all offseason, I talked about the idea of Brennan being a primarily running quarterback at some points of these games, and it gives NC State a different dynamic on offense that we've really never kind of had. I know Jacoby Brissett used to run a little bit, Russell Wilson when he was rushed out of the pocket, Ryan Finley here and there. We've never had a true dual threat quarterback like we have in Brennan. And tonight was probably one of the bigger examples of that. Throwing for over 200 through the air, also carried 21 times for 89 and 2 touchdowns himself. When you have a quarterback with that sort of ability, and not just that, but the toughness that he presents. I know some folks are concerned about some of the hits he took there at the end of the game. Just a bulldog to lead this team. And this is the exact, and I know we've had a roller coaster of a year, quarterback issues, defensive struggles. We're now 8-3, but
can we talk about that idea for a minute? Can we talk about that idea for just a minute? The roller coaster of a year idea. We're 8-3 going into Carolina, bowl game guaranteed.
Yes, but it has taken some doing to get here.
Absolutely. That's fair.
But
that's fair.
To have Brennan really demonstrating a senior leadership piece here, a 6-year guy coming into a new school, a new situation, earning the trust and respect of this team, having to sit back down, getting plugged back in here at the end of the season, going on the road to Virginia Tech, a place which he had never won before when he was with UVA. So tonight was his first win in Blacksburg, and just an absolute bulldog on this team, taking hit after hit, getting back up, whether it was throwing or passing, leading this team. I am very, very proud of Brennan Armstrong tonight and proud of the whole offense, but Brennan was an absolute bright spot for NC State tonight.
Absolutely. And on top of that, you look at how NC State has historically fared up in Lane Stadium, right? It hasn't gone well for us. It just hasn't, objectively speaking. Like, yes, we won tonight, but the last time before tonight we had won in Blacksburg, 2004. Like, this is quite some time since the last time we won in Blacksburg. And if you go before that to find the last time we won in Blacksburg before that, games used to tie back then. It was 1951. Teams used to have ties. How insane is that? But the reality is, this is a game where the Wolfpack have to be congratulated. You can save all your negativity for another day. We'll talk about the taking your foot off the gas at the end here. But this is a moment where, mind you, after the Duke game, did Grayson and I not tell everybody the sky is not falling? Things look bad, but every single game going forward is winnable. And we were called crazy. We were told, "Oh, you're not. There's no way we can." Now, Grayson, what's the record since the Duke game? You got the record. What's the record since the Duke game?
Let's see. If you carry the one, I think by my calculations, we're sitting at a 4-0 record following that Duke game.
Again, every game is winnable. Every game is losable. In this Carolina game coming up, the boys in baby blue, we just saw tonight in Death Valley. That is a winnable game. But it is also losable. It is also, if we take our foot off the gas and decide, we got good things done, or if we decide, well, we're going to stop the run by default. They got one of the better backs in the ACC. So, let's celebrate this for now. But please keep in mind, this is who the Wolfpack are now. The reality is, I saw a graphic pop up about how many teams have won 8 games or more in the last 4 seasons. And the Wolfpack are part of that. You're part of that group.
And Wolfpack Nation. It's an exclusive group, too.
I know it doesn't feel like it all the time, but we're part of that group. Take pride in that. Take pride in we show up and do what we're supposed to do year in and year out. Year in and year out. Down year, rebuild year, 2, 3, 4, 5, quarterback year. Does not matter. We show up and do what we do.
I'm going to pay a quick bill here before we get into more of the details of this game. Our first sponsor of this live edition is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is simply the most fun you can have this fantasy sports season. Now with basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League. This is a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. So for example, you can choose LeBron James and Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made and receptions. If you want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schulz, you can now find community plays under the promos tab. These are entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each and every week. And also don't forget, PrizePicks offers the reboot policy. If one of your players gets injured in the first half and does not return in the second, these players are rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with injury insurance policies. So head over to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right. We spent a lot of time in that first kind of couple minutes here, first 10 minutes, talk about the offense. Let's now talk about the defense, because I do think there's some meat on the bone to discuss here. And I know this is not how football works. I know that we were up 35-14, and effectively there, the game should have been over. Should have been does not count because you have an entire quarter left to play. Yeah. Kenton, are you concerned with the defense softening up a little bit there and allowing Virginia Tech to get back in this game when really they had no business in doing so?
No, I love this.
I'm not either.
I'm a huge believer, and it's better to learn a lesson in a win than a loss, right? And this is the moment. I feel like, and I don't want to disrespect Doran and say, oh, this is 100% on him. He's making the calls and making things go conservative. But I feel like we're hitting a point where our coordinators are being able to walk up with the moment of, see what happens when we don't do our thing. And like, it's now working out in a way that we're seeing like, all right, let these guys be who they are for the full duration, because I like our defensive line. I like our rushing specialist and Red Hibbler and company. I like what we got, but the reality is, if we want to win football games, if we want to win, especially against a team like UNC, you cannot do that rushing 3 thing. You can't do it, because guess what? We just hit the fastest quarterback that we'll play all year in Kyron Jones. There's not another one on our schedule that's nearly as fast as him. However, we're now going to play a guy who his name, he's going to be in that green room for a real short time come next April or whenever the draft is. He's going to be in that green room for a very short time. So with that being said, it has to be pushed. It has to be who you are the entire time, because that's what we have success with. We're not a bend but don't break team. That's not where we have success defensively. We accept the style of football we play is going to come with big plays here and there. That's what's going to happen. But that's at least who we are. Who we are is not this. We'll try to keep everything in front of us. We'll try to work it out so that we should only be doing that with 4 minutes or less left in the game. At that point in time, I'm fine, sure. But when there's 8-9 minutes left, there's meat on the bone. Go hunt. Go do your thing, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I thought up until that point, the defense played drones and the Hokies spectacularly. Absolutely. We said this week, if you stop drones or at least limit him to the best of your ability, Virginia Tech will have nothing for you. And they didn't. Yeah. Now, I thought Drones made a very nice throw. It was a touchdown pass he had there. I believe it was might have been second half, but that was a spectacular throw. I can live with that. If he can beat you over the top in that way, sure. Congratulations. That was a spectacular play. You made it. Fine. Didn't allow him to beat us on the ground, and I think that was probably one of the bigger pieces there. Didn't allow Tootin to beat us on the ground, and he's had a spectacular year for the Hokies. Limited him to virtually nothing as well. And it's kind of interesting because you saw those 2 chunk plays, and you thought to yourself, oh, geez, where have I seen this before? Is this going to be one of these nights? Because they had, what was it, the long kickoff return, and the first play out of that was the reverse that went for the touchdown.
Yeah.
And then of course you had the play over the top from Drones. 2 big chunk plays was effectively their entire offense until probably the 4th quarter.
Just about. Yeah. Just about.
Everything else, all of the mundane, we dominated. Absolutely dominated. They could do nothing on the ground outside of Drones scampering occasionally. Yeah. And so the game plan was there. I just think we probably lost a little bit of focus there at the end. Maybe some guys looking up at the scoreboard saying, okay, man, we handled our business here. And we started thinking about the pregame meal just a little bit too early. But all in all, like you mentioned, Kenton, I'm not so concerned with what I saw tonight. I don't think you're going to see that next week if the opportunity provides. I think they will be locked in until every final whistle. Yeah. But I'm more excited about the win than I am harping on things to be concerned about. Absolutely. Some of the conservative play from the offense as well later in that game. Same kind of issues. Again, this is NC State football. This is the kind of games that Dave Doran likes to win. And it sort of is what it is. As long as we end up winning, how much can you really complain? Is it fun sometimes for us fans? Absolutely not. We want to rip our hair out. We're standing on the edge of our chair when we shouldn't be because we were up by 21 points. So those aspects still remain. But my biggest takeaway here, and of course we always do that on Monday, we won the game. Yeah. We dominated them where we needed to dominate them, and we won the game. That is my biggest takeaway here after the game.
My biggest takeaway defensively is thank God for Peyton Wilson. That man is an animal. He is everywhere. He is all over the place. We cannot sing enough of his praises. And it's so exciting to not only see him be him, but to see him become infectious, to see his energy start to spread to the rest of the team, because we're now seeing Jalen Scott step up into that role a little bit of, hey, you're starting to see two flash on tape everywhere. Where did he come from? Why is he always around the ball? And that's happening and all that. But this team, this defense especially, again, learn a lesson in a loss. Learn a lesson in a win as opposed to a loss.
Yes.
Learn the lesson of don't take your foot off the gas. Learn the lesson and keep running the dogs. Keep bringing it. If bringing it all night is what we've been having success with, as Andy said, as many people in this chat have said, know who brought you to the dance. Keep dancing with them. Don't forget who bought you. That's the main thing that I would probably say about our defense. But my main takeaway from the game overall, ladies, gentlemen, folks, 10 wins is still alive. 10 wins is still alive. You know what I mean? And mind you, 10 wins is still alive in a season where all year, especially early, we just kept saying, man, when we get some receivers next year, we're going to be all right. Man, when MJ's playing next year, we're going to be all right. And yet, here we are down the stretch, eyeballing 10 wins, staring that thing right down the barrel. This is what we mean. This is what Grace and I were talking about in terms of every game was winnable, every game was losable. We still got two more. And this is a massive two, because let's just be honest. If you go on to beat the boys in Baby Blue, you're going to be in a marquee bowl game at that point. You're not going to the military bowl or something like that at that point. You're going to one of the big boy bowls. If you walk in 9 wins, 5-game winning streak, doing your thing, you just be the guy who was a Heisman candidate last year, going to be going first round this year. You're going to be going to a big boy bowl against a big boy team there. This is, what a time to be a Wolfpack fan. What a time.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time looking ahead and talk about UNC because there is still a lot to talk about this Virginia Tech game. But, of course, by now we have all seen we did get the 8 p.m. slot next week for UNC. We asked for it. We got it. Now let's get it.
Yeah.
Carter Finley will be an environment like we have probably not seen in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had the 2021 game where he came back in the end. I know we had the blackout game for Louisville earlier this year, the Clemson game, the Miami game, both great crowds.
The Lamar Jackson blackout game. That was a good one.
That's that game, that Lamar Jackson game from 2017. That's the type of energy I'm expecting this coming Saturday for UNC in the house, 8 p.m. slot.
I don't know. I'm expecting something bigger than that. I ain't gonna
very
lie
well
to
could
you.
be. Because now we got the new scoreboard, we got the lights. It could be outdoing the Lamar Jackson game. But
the only way to make this game any bigger of a magnitude is if ACC championship implications were on the line. But this truly is one of those moments. This is truly one of those moments, right? Mac Brown just announced he's coming back, and how excited we are along with the boys of Baby Blue fans.
Thank you for that, Mac, by the way.
Exactly.
We're
happy. Can I call you William? I'm going to call you William. Good to see you back, Will. But he's coming back. And again, they're talking about, hey, we got our boy. We got we're locked and loaded now. This is the matchup. This is the Thriller in Manila. This is Tyson Ali. This is all the things. This is yin and yang. This is our quarterback is our everything, and we figured out some stuff around him on offense versus our defense is our everything. And Peyton Wilson's been showing up. This game here, boy, what a time. What a time. Two teams that, in essence, match their fan bases, who they are and all that good stuff, because we've been hearing all year about, oh, yeah, you're the worst team in the triangle. You're the worst team in the triangle. Well, look at that. Look at how this thing is finishing out, right? Now, Grayson, correct me if I'm wrong or not, but we beat UVA, did we not?
We did.
One of the teams in the triangle just lost to it. Wait, both of the teams in the triangle lost to UVA. Oh, how unfortunate that is. But you know the only thing that could be better? Beating those boys. But we don't want to go there right now. We don't want to go there. We're going to stick with this game in that getting a win in Lane Stadium. That's big-time stuff. That's big-time stuff. And again, you know, I want everybody to really take into account that, you know, 90% of programs around the nation, 8 wins a year, they'll build you a statue, they'll rename the stadium after you and all that. And that's what Doran is doing at a consistent level. And now we have even more in front of us. Shout out to Doran for this win. Shout out to Anae for this win. Shout out to Gibson for this win. I don't care what the numbers say. This was a lights-out performance by Gibson, that defense, for a vast majority of the time. So, you know, what a time.
Yeah, I mean, as loud as the criticism was for Doran, the coaching staff earlier this year, some of the players as well, as loud as the criticism was, as loud as some of the boos were, the doubt, all of the praise, appreciation, and support should be equally as loud for what we have seen these past 4 games coming into the final game of the regular season against UNC, a game in which we have the same record as the Heisman Trophy winner up the street. The praise.
Heisman Trophy candidate. He ain't won one yet.
I thought he already won. I've been told he's already locked it up.
Well, you know that.
Maybe I have my facts incorrect.
Yeah, they like we always talk about, they're the kings of the preseason. They're the kings of, you know, February through August or so. They're the kings of that. But I digress.
But yes, everything that was so loud earlier in the season should be equally as loud now. I've seen a lot of folks say this year could end up being Coach Doran's best coaching job. Mm-hmm. I think you certainly make a strong case there with everything that's gone on, and to still have a shot at 10 wins here with the last 2 games here on the table. That's spectacular. It absolutely is. There's no 2 ways about it. And so, yes, shout out to Coach Doran. Shout out to the coaching staff. Shout out to Brennan Armstrong. Shout out to the offense, the defense, everybody. This has been an incredible turnaround from that Duke game that we referenced just a little bit ago. We got on that post-game podcast in Durham, and I know we told everyone that the sky was not falling. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel like it was.
Yeah.
The doubt that followed that game into the elation from winning this game on the road in Blacksburg, like you mentioned, another place that we've not had a lot of success here these last, I guess, decades. It's been that long. Back-to-back weeks of going on the road and winning in places you haven't normally won is spectacular, and another attribute to what a great job that Coach Doran has done with this team here this year.
Let me tell you something. I've been around the game of football for 17 years now. 17 years. And actually, I'm sorry. What am I doing? No, I played for 17 years. I've been around the game for 20 some odd, 23, 24. And here's the reality about football and about many things in life. When you're winning, you're never as good as everybody says you are. When you're losing, you're never as bad as anybody says you are. After that Duke game, everybody came out with how bad and how terrible and all that good stuff. The reality is the past is the past. But let me always let you know this, Wolfpack Nation. If you know nothing else about NC State teams under Doran, they're going to fight with every ounce they have in them. We can talk about the problems. We can talk about the conservativeness. We can talk about the halftime, going into halftime conservativeness. We can talk about some of the clock management there. We can talk about those things, sure. But I think the more important thing is that you have never seen, after year about 2-3, you have never seen a team that was not fighting tooth and nail for every single yard they could get, for every single point they could get on the board in terms of actual execution. Was the execution always perfect? No. Was the execution always perfect this year? No. Was the execution always perfect this game? No. But these teams are fighting tooth and nail. They're giving everything they got. You can't do nothing but praise them for that.
We're going to get out of here in just a couple of minutes, but first, our second ad read. Second sponsor of this live show is Athletic Brewing Company. Athletic Brewing has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. They make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good, full of flavor and well-crafted, just like a full-strength beer. Their brews are great tasting and award-winning, beating out full-strength beers in global competitions. They brew over 50 styles of craft non-alcoholic beer, including IPAs, Goldens, Sours, and many more. They're constantly releasing limited edition experimental styles to add to the variety as well. Athletic Brewing is simply fit for all times. You can drink them watching the big game or your kids' game, tackling work or working out. No matter the occasion, Athletic Brewing has you covered. You can find Athletic Brewing Company's non-alcoholic brews at a store near you or buy online at athleticbrewing.com. First-time customers can use code LOCKEDON to get 15% off of your first online order. That's code LOCKEDON at checkout for 15% off of athleticbrewing.com. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. Wrapping up this live show, again, lots of folks in here with us.
Hold on, Grayson.
What you got?
Grayson, can you show him the jacket? Can you show him the jacket one time before we get out of here? This man is Wolfpack up. This man, he got it. It's not only in him, it's on him. This is our main man, Grayson Boone. Absolutely put it on in Blacksburg today. What a time. What a guy. What a guy. 3 claps, everybody, for Grayson. 3 claps for Grayson, y'all. This man is absolutely doing it, man. We love it. But proceed.
Folks are saying I got it on. Who am I to disagree?
Hey, you do, brother. You do.
But last couple minutes here before we get out of here. Again, so many of you in here with us. We appreciate you for doing that. It is now almost 11:30. The game ended hours ago. I was worried about how many people would jump in here as it took me a while to get back and get situated. But you guys make this show what it is. We appreciate you every single time we get on here and do a live show. Ran into a couple folks that recognized me. That was kind of weird for me since I'm still sort of new to this. It's so cool to see so many people, supporting this show. We love doing this show every single time, win, lose. Hopefully we never draw because I hate to tie. We're here for Wolfpack Nation, and we have a blast doing this, but it's even better when we win a game like this one on the road. So, what more can we say? We're happy with the win. All in all, I think I would be safe in calling this dominating Wake Forest, dominating Virginia Tech on the road. The score will not reflect that to you, and I understand that.
Yeah.
We handled business. We absolutely stood on business up in Blacksburg tonight.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you won in a tough environment. And here's the thing. This has not been a year filled with NC State stuff. Like, very seriously, this just hasn't been. We've done a lot of things that we haven't seen in the past. Let's finish it in a way that we haven't seen for NC State. Let's not have that 1 or 2 games or let's not have multiple games that are absolute head scratchers. Because let's just be honest, Duke was a head scratcher. That was that moment where you're just stuck wondering, like, how do we get out coached? How do we get out executed? How do we get out everything that bad? But let's go forward with this season with the expectation that, hey, this team is going to dominate and we're going to show up. We're going to pack the house when the boys of Baby Blue go. We're going to travel well. Listen, do you want to know the best part about the big time bowl games? They're all down south. They're all in good weather. Each and every big time bowl game, you're in good weather, okay? I'm just saying, I love my hometown. I love cold weather. I know most Carolinians don't, okay? We're not going to the Quick Lane Bowl up in Detroit. That's just the reality. I love to cover the game while being at home, but that's not where we're going, right? So there is so much that this team has to look forward to, and they can only look forward to that because of performances like this afternoon's. That's just the facts. Winning games that you're supposed to win, and not only winning games that you're supposed to win, but taking away teams' best options, taking away Byshaw Tootin, taking away Drone's legs, taking away many things that we were concerned about coming into this game. That's how you win.
Last thing before we get out of here, I saw Logan mention this. Can we talk about the real key to this whole thing? You guys haven't picked the pack in about a month, and they haven't lost since. Reverse psychology is 4-0. I know we had a couple folks tweeting at us saying, wait a minute, you guys are NC State fans and you're picking Virginia Tech? I said, oh, we have some folks new to the pod. Yes, just putting this out there. After that Duke game, the Clemson, Miami, Wake Forest, and now Virginia Tech game, we've used reverse psychology. We've picked against NC State. I feel like I'm going to regret explaining this, but we're 4-0 in doing so.
Yeah.
Some folks are wondering what we're going to do next week. I physically don't know if I can get myself to list a higher number for the blue team than the red team.
Ball
We'll
up
see.
top. Ball up top. That's all I can say about it. Yeah, I can't give you details. Just ball.
You'll have to stay tuned and see how we pick next week with UNC in town. But whatever we're doing, for some reason, it's working. Whatever changed after the bye week, it's working. Whatever this coaching staff is telling these guys for their run out there on the field, it's working. And it's only weird if it doesn't work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely. I agree. We're not fixing anything this way because this team has been playing like the fix is in since that bye week. So, I'm not going to break that streak.
As always, we appreciate all of you so much for jumping in here with us post-game. Wrapping this up, NC State wins on the road in Blacksburg by a score of 35-28. 4 consecutive wins following that bye week, back-to-back on the road. 8 p.m. matchup next Saturday against UNC. Certainly have a lot to talk about this week, so be sure to check out the pod. We'll have another crossover episode with Isaac Shade of Locked On Heels. That is something to look forward to. Thankful for all the support. Thankful for all the likes, the views, the comments, the subscriptions, you name it. We've been getting it from y'all, and we are so thankful for all of that. Peace and love. We will see you all on Monday, and until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.